Why, hello there. My name is Mountain, and today I'd like to talk to you about this. And what is this, you might ask? Well, this, my friends, is the Aer City Pack Pro V2. Now, as the name suggests, this is the second iteration of the Pro version of the urban EDC commuter use city line of bags, first introduced by Aer, the San Francisco-based manufacturer of a wide variety of bags and pouches accessories across work, travel, and active use cases several years ago. Now, I have previously reviewed the version 1 of the City Pack Pro on my channel, as well as the non-Pro version of the City Pack on my channel, so as you might guess, I quite like this series of bags. Now, over the past year, there's been a spate of so-called Pro Packs coming onto the market, and I've reviewed some of those on this channel. The Bellroy Transit Work Pack Pro or the Alpaca Gear Metro Pro. However, the original Aer City Pack Pro, the V1, remains one of my favorite EDC backpacks, and it has a solid spot in my daily EDC rotation, especially in the Ultra variant, which I've got right here. And immediately you can see there are some changes from the V1 to the V2 here. This one is my current favorite, and you can see it's got a lot of love and use. This new version, though it is, obviously a little bit different than what I just showed you on the V1, keeps a lot of what I like about that original V1, and it generally just tightens and cleans things up a lot. I personally like a lot of the changes that they made to this bag. Now, its main claim to fame, which is sort of true for its V1 as well, but maybe even more cleaned up and more fame claimed, if you will, is it has a high degree of urban use organization. I'll give you a quick sneak peek here. You got a pocket up here, you got a pocket over here, you've got a pouch up here, or sorry, you've got a big flap here with two pockets in here and more pockets inside of here, and you've got a quick access pocket up here, and you've got dual water bottle pockets here, and you've got a back dual slot laptop thing going on here. So just lots of high degree of urban use organization mixed with good wide open spaces, as I showed you, in a fairly clean and tightened up form factor. You can already see, and I'll show you a quick comparison to the V1 in more detail here in a second, but you can already see it's a little bit more tightened up, it's a little bit cleaner, a little bit more compact than the original V1. This bag is a joy also to use in EDC life, especially for folks with a lot of small gadgets and maybe, little things you want to keep organized, but you also want to carry bigger things like books or a jacket or some bulky headphones, etc., as you kind of saw inside of this main compartment here. Now, in terms of opportunities for improvement, well, no bag is perfect, but honestly, I think this is a pretty solid bag for like what it is and kind of like the price point it's coming in at. The only thing I can really think of, again, within the constraints of what this bag is and is intended to do, that might be maybe opportunity improvement, it is a little bit heavier than the original version 1. The design changes, obviously fashion is in the eye of the beholder, may not be for everyone, though personally I like it a lot. And they changed the orientation of the way that the bag sits on a luggage pass-through and added a weird little Velcro thing. I think most people actually will consider this a positive, but a few weirdos such as myself prefer it when the luggage strap kind of runs horizontally. But again, I think that is very much a personal preference where I'm in the minority there. Anyway, we will talk all about those things and more here in today's review. But first, a quick disclaimer. I would like to thank Aer for sending this bag over for review. I've been using it for about a month or so now. And even though they did send that over for review, as per my usual review policy, all the thoughts expressed are my own, all my opinions are my own. They don't get any input into this. They don't even get to see this, or no one is going to go live before it releases, so they'll see this when you guys do as well, but just want to make sure I called that out here. This particular bag is available in black, olive, navy, in the kind of nylon colorway, which is what you've got here, and we'll talk about the materials and stuff later on, as well as an ultra version and an X-Pack version, as is kind of like Aer style these days. It's available over on aersf.com, and it is retailing for $209 for this base nylon version in black, which is what I'm showing you here. So let's talk very briefly about what's different about this V2 versus this V1. This won't be completely exhaustive, but I'll try and hit the big points. This is the original nylon, V1 City Pack Pro. This is maybe the closest apples to apples comparison. You can see the style is kind of cleaned up and curved and slimmed down. Well, I don't know, slimmed down, but it's more compact. It's less boxy in some ways than the original, which was kind of a boxy thing. I think that was part of its charm there. I'll talk more about the design later on, but I think this one makes it a little bit more suitable for like environments where you might have been, a little bit hesitant to kind of rock this. Like I think like business casual might, I mean, you could have done it, but I think unless you're working like in the tech industry or doing IT or something like that, it might be a little bit embarrassing to bring in this one. This one I think blends in a lot better with that just due to its overall sleeker design and all that. It is a little bit heavier, as I mentioned, than this one here. And on the side, now getting to like some of the differences, they've lost this, on the V1, they used to have this kind of side pocket where they had a key leash, if I can get it out here. That pocket is gone. Now there's dual water bottle pockets on this one, and the key leash has been moved into the front there. Both sides actually now gain a very substantial and very useful carry handle. The back luggage strap, this one did not have side carry handles. The luggage strap orientation on the V1, as you see, it was kind of vertical, and on the V2 has moved to be horizontal with this. I'm not a fan of this, but I understand why they did it. Velcro horizontal little keeper there. The quick access pocket construction has also changed now in the V2, and we'll show you this a little bit here. It's like this, it's a much more robust mesh, and it's oriented kind of horizontally. You can't really see it, it's kind of horizontally laying across the top of the bag, whereas in the V1, that was a little bit more, how should I say, like, it was like this big pad that would just kind of flap around there, which I don't really like, and it was padded and fleece lined, but it was not as nice. The elastics and some of the materials used in the V2 are tighter and firmer, and I think just generally a bit more refined than the original V1. And then also I think the admin panel section here on the V2, you can see I have a bunch of stuff inside of here. But it's just a little bit more cleaned up and refined than the original V1, which I think the pocket construction was a little bit sometimes odd, I would say, like just variety of different materials and a pocket that's not really a pocket and all that. But anyway, generally some of these smaller things there. And they also moved like the location of the air tag holder, and then the back laptop compartment. I used to have like just a stacked tablet on top of the laptop holder, and now it's been moved. One side's been moved to this face and one side's been moved to this face, one holder to each. So let's start talking about the various features and stuff of this bag. Front pocket here, up at the top, this is sort of like the tech organizer, dump, whatever pocket here. Opens with a one-way zipper, all your standard high quality Aer materials here. This is a reversed zipper, Hypalon pull. Much better improvement over the V1 zipper pulls, which I didn't mention, but like the V1 zipper pulls are a little bit dang, a little bit fussy. These are so much better. Inside of here, it flips down. It's got a pretty generous area here. Like it kind of reminds me a little bit of like the valet organizer pockets from the Aer Pro pack line. Maybe even like a little bit of like the dump type front pockets you see in like travel oriented bags, like the Evergood Civic Travel Bag 26, or a lot of bags have them at this point here. And I kind of like, that's kind of what I was saying. Like I feel like parts of this are a little bit more inspired by travel uses or travel bags to some extent. Obviously the V1 also had this kind of pocket, but this one's just, I think they've really gone into a little bit more with like the independent dimension and sort of like the dump styling there. But it's not just dump styling, because when you fold it down, you get all sorts of organization going on here. Let me show you how I actually rock this on a daily basis. So how I like stumble through my life with this bag on a daily basis. Two stretch elastic pockets here, and they've got this really nice, it's just folded over, but double layer elastic stretch material that I really like. It's quite robust and feels refined. I think because it's doubled over, it feels robust. I think if it were just single layer, it would be a little bit thinner, but like it's nice like this. They got rid of like the bellow pocket with like the elasticated whatever. It's a simpler, cleaner design. It's all one color, lighter gray contrast, but it's really nice. Inside of here, I've got two phones, one for work, one for personal. And you can see the pockets a little bit more clearly. Like one is a little bit smaller and one's a little bit wider. So maybe about 3/5 and 2/5 of the width there. I've got a tactile turn pen clipped into here, because weirdly, there's no pen pocket. That was something that I can't remember if it was in the V1 or not, but a lot of airbags have a dedicated pen pocket. This one does not, which was a curious omission. Inside of here, I have like my Bellroy note taker with another pen. I have a notebook inside of here that I'll show you, which is what I usually use this pen for when I'm doing things that require a bigger notebook, and then I just gotta grab something to go or whatever, or memos, whatever that I'll take this one. So I got two pens inside here. And then you can see you've got this, this is the whole area there, and then there's a zippered pocket behind here. The zipper pocket has no independent dimension, but it, you know, there's a little bit of flex to the material or whatever inside of there. I just got a mask, but it's good for, like, you know, it's a decent, it runs about here, so not the whole height of the pocket, but a lot of it. And you could fit, you know, like masks, small, you know, if you want to put like field notes or whatever, that'll fit inside of there. I think if you had like a flatter wallet or something like that, that would fit inside of there, etc. And then in the main area, I have some my AirPod Pros in a Bellroy leather case, and then you've just got this big dump area, which I like. It's got this independent dimension, so like this is great. Like you can kind of do some organization if you want. You probably want to, so you're not a heathen. But you also can just dump stuff inside of here like this, and it's all just very nicely like accessible from the top. You can already see the bag sort of stands up on its own for the most part. It kind of depends on what you got loaded inside of there. So I find it's very nice to like kind of be able to just leave this open and work in and out of it. Like, great job. You can just see there's so much nice capacity here. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to fit every kind of like bulky over the ear folded up Bluetooth headphones inside of here, but some of the slimmer ones will definitely fit if you don't have a bunch of other stuff in here. But you know, there are limits to this, but I do like this. Like a pair of slim gloves would fit inside of here as well. Let's talk about this kind of front pocket while we're here in this area, the front dump pocket. This is like the now classic Aer use of like a water resistant YKK zipper with a Hypalon garage, one way, really big and beefy. Again, better zipper pulls on this than the V1. You also have the Hypalon counter pulls if you want. This one doesn't have, I mean, it has a little bit of independent dimension. You can kind of see from the patterning and kind of see from like the shaping, there's a little bit of capacity inside of there, but it's still very much like a flat pocket, especially because the stuff you put in the main compartment tends to kind of just fill this out here. I'll show you what I've got inside of here. There's a nice little key leash. I got my keys inside of here. This key leash is just attached inside of there, makes it really easy to fish your keys out. Little metal, plastic clip with a little metal gate in there, and then I've just got like a little cloth, you know, to dry my hands or whatever. It is fairly flat and a little bit tight, but I do find it, you know, kind of handy for, you know, obviously keys and other little kind of things that you want to maybe access quickly. Hand lotion, maybe a USB battery or something like that, or other things that I would fit inside of here. I wouldn't like put like things that I want to access multiple times a day inside of here, but maybe once or twice a day I think works fine. Again, it's a little bit tight, but I kind of like that. Let's flip the bag really quickly to the back and talk about the laptop pocket. It is accessible via this two-way, really nice water resistant zipper with the Hypalon pulls again. As you can see, it's quite nice to operate with one hand. It doesn't snag or anything like that. I love that. So this folds open like this. You're now looking at the top of the bag. And as I kind of mentioned briefly versus the V1, this one has like two compartments separated. Now you can fit easily. I'm gonna flip it up again here. So this is the back of the bag, top of the bag. I've got in here my 14-inch MacBook, M4 MacBook Pro in there. It can easily fit up to a 16-inch MacBook Pro or something similar in the front of that. So this is the laptop compartment, which is padded and also has a false bottom and has this fleece lining on the back here. If that's sort of like where you would keep your main device, across from it you have this like simple, it's not padded really on either side, it's just like the nylon pocket, where right now I have 11-inch iPad Pro, but you can fit, for example, another 13 or 14-inch device inside of there. Just keeping in mind, while it is suspended off the bottom, it's not thickly padded or cushioned like this one is. So I find that kind of interesting, because then that gives you also space in between that goes all the way to the bottom of the bag here, between the two suspended pockets, where you can put your papers, business papers, man, inside of there if that's what you want. Shout out to Chase Reeves. Or you can put in, you know, whatever other kind of flat items you might want to put in that area and still have easy access to two different devices. Now, what you don't have in this pocket or this area, which you do have in a lot of other so-called pro bags, is like a separate like tech pocket to hold like your charger, your mouse or whatever. For me, that's okay. I think like that's never been part of the City Pack Pro line of bags, but you know, some people might miss that omission. So next, let's talk about the water bottle pockets on either side, because we have now finally come to this point in our lives, friends, where it used to be like not so long ago that if your bag had side handles, which I'll talk about here in a second, then it didn't have water bottle pockets. And that was many an EDC clamshell bag that like didn't even have water bottle pockets, because insert some rambling idea about clamshells and how they're difficult to make them work together. And then we got grateful when I think the kind of carry world evolved, and then you would get a bag with like a handle on one side and a water bottle pocket on the other, and then that was great too, right? And then occasionally you get an EDC full clamshell that would flirt with the dark side and try and work that in as well. And now, my friends, we are blessed to live in an era where, despite all that's going on in the world, we can easily buy an EDC-oriented bag like this that has a full clamshell, and it has not one, but two handles, and not one, but two water bottle pockets. I was going to say, truly, we are in the best timeline. I don't know if that's actually something I could say on camera, but I would say that we are in a timeline where at least some parts of our lives have been blessed by Providence to have brought us this far. So regarding the water bottle pockets themselves, they are relatively svelte due to the overall size of the bag and the fact that they still need to kind of work in all those other features I just talked to you about. The handles do kind of come into this. This is a pretty common way of, I think, doing both handles and water bottle pockets together. So you don't see they don't run in all the way there, but you've got, you know, your nice water bottle pockets, got a little gusseting and an elastic elastic band up there. This is a very standard like Aer solution at this point here. And it holds like a decent sized water bottle. This is the 18-ounce Purist water bottle. I think it's the Traveler or whatever, I can't remember, whatever the 18-ounce one is. I always show this one in the videos. It's like 500 something milliliters. You can see that fits in there, no problem. And you can obviously do the same thing on this side. I don't need to be that hydrated, but you know, you can put one in each. What I have done, and it works completely fine, water bottle on one side and then like a portable umbrella, like a little collapsible umbrella on the other. The water bottle pockets do a good job of expanding outward, which I like. Doesn't take too much away from the internal space of the bag, and it opens up decently wide. Like this is not the maximum that you can fit in there. You could fit something, you can see I could fit something a little bit larger inside of there, including maybe some 1 liter water bottles, though I think that's just far too much liquid to bring with you in an EDC use bag. If you're hiking, definitely. When they're not in use, they kind of compress and lay down flat. And they have decent retention, though there is no like, you know, rubber bits or whatever on the inside, so the things tend to slip in and out, or can slip in and out, especially if you got them full of water. So if you were to like put this in an overhead bin, it can work its way out. However, smaller things like a USB battery or whatever, you can kind of put it inside of there, and it'll do an okay job just because it's deep enough that it'll kind of stay towards the bottom there. Maybe the last thing to say about the water bottle pockets before I go there is, as always, like a D-ring at the top of one of them. You use that to kind of strap in your umbrella, your tripod, your battle axe, whatever kind of like long, tall thing you might put inside of there if you need to secure the top. Okay, next let's talk about the quick access pocket at the top of this bag here. Now the quick access pocket lays here with a single low profile locking, meaning it locks flat, reverse YKK zipper, pretty small. Inside of there, as I mentioned earlier, it's horizontal. It kind of lays at the top of the bag. It's this nice robust mesh, stretch elastic, same as the front organizer pockets here. Inside of here, I've just got the things that I want to keep quick access to. Some hand sanitizer, a comb, some chapstick. I will sometimes put my phone in there. You can easily fit like an iPhone 15 Pro Max inside of there. Sunglasses, and because it is kind of like horizontally oriented, it actually prevents them from being damaged by the contents of the bag unless the bag is super packed out. So I really like that. So it's soft and stretchy enough that you could put like sunglasses or something in there. Phone can go in there. A little bit of EDC doodads, as I just showed you here. You can see it's kind of really just nice. I love this. This is a great way to do quick access pockets, in my opinion. And I'm glad that they switched to this here. All right, and since we're here, let's talk about the main compartment, my friends. Let's talk about the access. Access is via these beefy, non-coated but reverse YKK zippers, again with the Hypalon pulls with the subtle Aer design branding on there, which I like. Really easy to open, like I said, panel style or all the way clamshell. You can, like, because there's a lot of stuff you could put in this lid, like it can catch a little bit. You can see like if you try to pull up with one hand, but if you just use this other hand, like it pulls up really, really smoothly. So the track and the running of the zipper is very smooth. You just have to kind of clear like the weight of what you might put inside of this panel, but it doesn't snag or catch on the track like you do on some other bags. So I really like that. So opens up either panel or all the way clamshell. Let's go open a clamshell so y'all can see what's going on inside of here. I'm gonna lay the bag on the side here. You can kind of see here's the front face of the bag. We have a pretty standard solution that you see in a lot of bags, which is kind of like a one pocket up here. Let me put it like this a little bit. One pocket up at the top, and then kind of like a bigger 2/3 pocket. Technically, I think it's actually half-half. This pocket at the top has that same stretchy, robust mesh in it. It actually doesn't have as much independent mesh, or really any. It's really relying on the stretch of the mesh and a little bit of like just the flex of the nylon up here, stretch of the elastic, excuse me, for like its carrying capacity. It's actually fairly flat pocket, but again, this does give you some ability to contain bulky items. Inside of here is where I keep my wallet. That's going to be the Bellroy Apex wallet. I also have like just an additional card holder with like some money and like paper bills and like business cards and whatever, a little Montbell coin wallet, and that's really it for what's inside of this area here. And then inside of this one at the bottom, it doesn't have that elastic, so it's just kind of flat, sort of, because of the shaping and everything of the pocketing. You do have a little bit, maybe technically very so slight independent capacity. It's also generally, it gets a little tight, much like with this front pocket. I feel like this one's also a little bit tight. I wouldn't say it's quite a criticism, but it is something maybe to kind of mention. It's just among the tighter bags. I have some hand lotion, and then I've got a little mini dop kit. I've got a little toothbrush and toothpaste or whatever inside there in case I need to. And other than that, it's just empty. I like these pockets. I do wish they were a little bit less tighter. Wish they had just a little bit more independent dimension. Especially, I think just this one, if it had a little bit more, I would put even more stuff inside of it, but maybe they don't want the lid to get any heavier than it already will be if you start putting more stuff, so that's completely fine. I think just sort of something to keep in mind, depending on what you're looking to put inside of there. Now, moving on to the main compartment. You can see this is a pretty typical loadout for me. This bag is packed just kind of how I actually used it this morning, as it were. Inside of here, I've got some headphones. These are going to be in like a generic hard case. These are the Bang & Olufsen H95s or whatever. And then inside of here, we also have the Aer Slim Pouch V2. This just released. I love the Aer Slim Pouch V1. I use it especially in this X-Pack variant, like in many of my bags. I love this new one. It's I'll do a full review on this soon, but it's got some nice little subtle refinements. They brought in the new materials and kind of colorway, internal colorway as the original, as the City series here. It's got that nice little outward facing top kind of zipper pocket, and then this one has like some little attachment points where you could turn it into a sling with a separate strap, which I love. Anyway, I use this sort of as like my tech pouch, kind of keep all my cables and stuff inside of there. It fits really nicely into the bottom of this bag, and like I said, I'll have a full review of that coming up as well, because it is a great pouch. So you can see you can fit more stuff inside of there, but before we do, let's talk about what else I have in here. I have my notebook that you'll see in a lot of my videos. This is a Leuchtturm 1917 clear file for my papers of business. Man, if you want to put them inside here, you can also put them in the back there, as I mentioned. You've got like this elastic pocket with the same kind of new elastic material here, which I like. I love it when bags have this on the back side of their main compartment. It really just gives you an additional option. There's nothing else inside of here. And in the old one, they used to have the AirTag pocket, or the AirTag pocket up here. But in the new one, it has moved. And I forgot to talk about this when I was talking about the original, about the front pocket here. In the new one, it has moved to up here in the front compartment, in the zipper area behind the top zipper track there. Back to the main compartment, kind of nice high contrast light gray that you see everywhere else, and I just love it. It's really nice to pack. It packs easily because the walls kind of stand up on their own, even though the lid is a bit heavy. The hinge point is at the bottom, so that gives you full access, as is, one of the best benefits, I think, of a clamshell style bag. All this stuff drops inside of here, and as you can see, we have plenty of space for other stuff that you might want to put in there. You can fit like a gym kit, as long as your shoes aren't too bulky in there, though that will take up most of the stuff. You could easily fit like a puffy jacket inside of here, maybe something like a Lenovo Legion Go or something like that. If you have like one of those handheld gaming devices, a Switch or whatever, that'll all fit in there. And I think that that's one of the best strengths, or part of the best strengths of the City Pack Pro series, both in this one and the V1, is just a combination of wide open space and then like this lots of organization here. So let's talk about the load carriage system next on this bag. I've already kind of talked a little bit about it. Like this bag has handles everywhere and it's great. It doesn't have handles on the bottom, but 2 side handles, which is amazing. It's so easy to carry this bag. And the top handle, all the handles are made of this kind of like foam core with like this nylon webbing out casing or whatever. And they are surprisingly comfortable. Side handles especially easy to grab both with gloves and without gloves because they kind of bow out a little bit here. The top one, same thing here. It's actually pretty easy to grab with either. And it just makes it so easy to portage this bag. This was not expected, or I did not expect that to show up on this V2 revision, and I like it a lot. And it's kind of what makes me feel like this bag maybe was now designed a little bit more for people who might want to consider taking this as an overnight trip or whatever, a little bit of a nod to like travel affordances. Anyway, just great stuff. I really love these handles, and I already kind of marveled at like the combination of like handles and water bottle pockets on each side. Okay, the other, main part of the load carriage, I guess, is the back panel or whatever. I kind of talked about this part, this laptop area already, but it does have a frame sheet. It's not like the stiffest, but it's not super like flexy either. Oh, well, it's kind of flexy, but not super flexy. What happens when you put a laptop inside of here, that obviously adds to the rigidity and then sort of the overall structure. Like Aer bags, in all of their bags, tend to devote a fair amount of weight and material to like constructing the structure of the bag. So because this top part doesn't go down all the way, it only goes down to this far here. Like it kind of gives you this structure. Even if you didn't have the laptop inside of there, like you're not going to have this bag like completely flex on you. It just does have some structure, which I like. Load carriage, load transference or weight transference is not the class leading inside of this bag because there's a bit of flex on there, but it is pretty good. So I would say like for a pro bag in the 24-liter size, like this is appropriate kind of like frame sheet, though not as stiff as some of the others. And that's maybe kind of, down to personal preference. The back panel has these 4 areas of like this raised air mesh here. It's decently comfortable. It's not as crazy over the top like the Bellroy Transit Work Pack Pro series, which I think had like really thick pads and really thick shoulder pads as well. This is a little bit more restrained, though it is certainly still kind of noticeable. Does an okay job of sweat transference. It's winter here, so it's not like I was really sweating up a storm here, but you do have kind of decent kind of areas for some amount of air exchange. And I already talked about this part here. The luggage pass-through used to run vertically, which I admittedly in the minority preferred, but almost everyone else I've seen on the internet prefers this horizontal orientation, and it kind of has this little Velcro thing, which is weird. I was not expecting Velcro here from Aer, and I think because they don't usually do Velcro, and then also Velcro tends to wear out. But I think maybe the thinking is like, this would kind of keep things tighter and neater. And then it's not something you would be constantly using in and out. But this is kind of another nod maybe to like both what the people want and also like, even if the people are wrong. And then also, maybe like it's possibility to be used for some travel things. So, like I said, I prefer having the luggage pass through sideways because then that gives the bag a lower center of gravity on the roller. I think when you have it like this, like it's too top heavy, so it's really easy for the bag to tip over because it's just, especially if you've got like your computer or stuff in here, like it's easy for the roller bag to tip over. I also often travel with like a smaller, like a Rimowa compact or half size roller thing, so it's only up to here. So having the bag sit on that horizontally kind of keeps it still only about like this high of a profile, as opposed to like it gets really high if you got it up here. However, there's a lot of advantages of having it up here, right? Like first and foremost, all the pockets are easily accessible from the top while the bag is sitting on your roller, which is I think why a lot of people prefer that. And then also like you still have strap dangle, but you have like a less annoying version of strap dangle as opposed to like when the bag is like, this and you got your straps going on there. So anyway, I spent far too much time talking about this luggage pass-through. Suffice it to say it works and it's been changed to this orientation, so I think most people will like that. The other component of this whole load carry system back here is now the shoulder straps, which normally I spend a lot of time talking about. But by this point, like it's kind of, the story with Aer. You're getting decent, I've often said the best generally available consumer level fit, finish, and execution, whatever, on airbags. And I think that's true here. Like that's a compliment. It definitely is. Like You got a little bit of a harder layer, but not like as hard as some other bags where you have like a really tough plastic layer and then like a foamy thing underneath. A little bit of firmness here, and then like a moderately, thick, but not super thick, not particularly dense, but cushiony enough foam underneath there. It's the same kind of air mesh on the bottom here. Air uses a pretty standard like implementation of air mesh on like Bellroy or Evergoods or whatever, which kind of do their own versions and all that, which I generally like. This one is a pretty standard one, but it's fine. Again, best generally available consumer level materials and whatnot. You got Hypalon bands on here, which I think is new in this version here. It lets you just kind of attach a pocket or something on there. You got a D-ring on here, same thing to kind of clip in like a pocket or a pouch on here. And then you've got a removable sternum straps that slide up and down on this standard design attachment point. Fidlock buckle, yay, magnetic. How do they work? Adjustable, no elastication, but a very good and competent sternum strap that is removable if you like, and easy to attach and detach, and works great for kind of, locking this bag onto your back there. And then you've got like these, just standard straps that are attached down here with a little bit of built-in elastic webbing keepers. One thing I don't like is they've changed the elastic type that they use for the strap keepers, and I don't quite like this one as much as the previous version. This one feels just a little bit, it feels a little too tight. It feels a little too narrow and too thick for the strap is supposed to retain. That's such a minor nitpick, but it's just something I noticed because I have used this bag in so many different versions, so many Aer products today, and I just noticed that. Anyway, overall, pretty good load carriage, and I think for most loads, like this load that I have in here, like I'm fairly comfortable through a long 10-hour day, whatever. So I think it's a good, competent load carriage system, and I love the addition of these handles. All right, we're almost done here. Materials and design, my friends. Like as I said, I reviewed a lot of the airbags. I already said this, best generally available consumer level materials, fit and finish and all that. 1680D Cordura, YKK zippers, Duraflex hardware on the plastic, Fidlock buckles, Hypalon accents here and there. Some nice little, upgrades over the V1. Like I already mentioned, probably the most noticeable is just going from those plastic dangly zipper pulls to this, nice little Hypalon thing with the Aer branding on there. The new internal mesh I think is really nice, and there's nothing supremely exciting about this in the nylon colorway in terms of materials or whatever, but there is also an X Pack and there's also an Ultra, which is awesome. So I love that they're kind of just experimenting in these. Well, X Pack is pretty common now, but like Ultra fabrics or whatever, and so if that's kind of your vibe and your preference, like I definitely urge you to check those versions out as well. Design-wise, I think this is the other kind of big highlight of this V2 version. It's sleeker, it's more refined, it stands up well on its own, better than the V1, if I have to be honest. It's like a blend, I think, of like their Pro packs and their City packs and some of like the Ultra line, even inspired flavor, even in the nylon-based version. It's also a little bit smaller, more compact in its visual appearance. The previous one was kind of boxy and square, which I loved. It had a nice capacity and all that, but like I said, this one, so this is true facts here. While I hesitated to wear the original one to like, work on days when I need to dress like a grown-up because, it just didn't really vibe with like a Chester coat or like an overcoat. It's just a little too boxy, a little bit too studenty or whatever. Like this new one, I actually wear it on days when I need to dress like a grown-up, and like, while I wouldn't wear it over a suit, certainly would wear it with like a Chester coat or something like car coat or something like that. Button overcoat or what you call it, whatever you call it. It would work, I think, in most professional urban commute or smart casual, business casual type settings, unless maybe you work in like a white shoe law firm or whatever. So like anywhere you would take it to me. I think this new version with the very minimal branding, it's only this one here, you could even black that out if you wanted, I think worked, which is nice. I like that. It feels more grown up, more refined. And like I said, it's a little bit smaller, a little bit slimmer than the original View, a little bit less boxy, and I love that. Now, some people may not dig that. They may like the square boxy aesthetic. There's something to be said for chunky chunk and whatnot, but for me, I think this is a great, kind of improvement in the visual design and just kind of like the shaping and the tightening and the curves and whatnot. So finally, who is this bag for and who is it not for? I used to talk about this in the beginning. I decided to talk about this at the end this time. For office workers, students, urban commuters, your digital freelancers, and any of the above. Like if you're rocking a few different devices, like I showed you, I got two different, devices inside of here, an iPad and a MacBook Pro. You got some papers, business or otherwise, and stuff that needs to be kept organized, but you also need some wide open capacity so you can bring your headphones to like tune out the noise at the cafe or whatever. Like, you know, this has got you sorted. It's just a great choice. And like I said, the V1 has been a mainstay in my EDC urban use rotation for a long time. This one has supplanted the V1 just because I love it so much more. Another option, some two-bag travel. Like I said, there's a little bit of like affordances to like the you know, the travel genre or what have you with this. And I think that if you routinely travel with two bags, like a roller and a duffel, and you need a bag for that to go with that, and you need to carry some devices in your EDC setup, I think this one works pretty well. It has not only that luggage pass-through in the new position that many of you wrongly, but I accept your flaws, believe is the correct position here, a better position. It isn't too big. It fits well under a seat in front of you. You could do a one-night trip, actually, even with this thing here. Business travel, most business casual style companies are going to be completely fine with this. So I think this is a pretty good choice for that two-bag travel space. Now, what it's not for, I don't think it's a great one-bag travel or Goldilocks bag. Folks that are looking for the bag that can do like the Goldilocks thing, like your EDC and get all your stuff from point A to point B and be your EDC. It's a little bit too small. It's a little bit smaller than the previous one, even though it's the same rated capacity. It's not quite there yet. It's not bad. You can't not do it, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend this bag for it. There are better choices here. I think that it's better for like kind of go out, start your day at home or wherever, hotel, and then go out and come back, kind of use EDC use than one bag travel use. You could do like an overnight trip with it though, if you didn't have too much stuff and you don't need to bring too much, you know, like extra bunch of clothes or whatnot. I also don't think it's a great choice for minimalists. It has a lot going on as a sort of like Aer style and all the pockets and stuff I showed you, and it's supposed to be a pro bag. So if all you need is somewhere for your laptop, wallet, pen, and like a couple of small things, you might, and or you like a clean minimal design. This has a pretty nice like clean design, but there are like the handles and the danglies and whatnot. So you might be better off with a different bag. So that having been said, obviously I like this bag a lot. Like I said, it's going to replace the original V1 in my daily rotation of EDC bags. And I urge you to check it out. I really like this bag. All right. Speaking of which, if you're in the market for a bag like this, what are some other bags that you might want to consider? All right, I try not to talk about like the same bags all the time, but I cannot talk about a 24-liter clamshell EDC bag without talking about the OG. It's my OG. I don't know if it's other people's OG, but this is, if I had to choose one bag, it would be the Evergoods Civic Panel Loader 24. This is one of the versions. I don't know, I have 24s and 28s and 16s, including all those. I have probably 15, maybe 16 of these bags. I don't remember which version this is. I think it's like the V3 in the nylon 6 or whatever. This is my favorite, if I had to choose, EDC bag, clamshell style EDC bag. Without raving about this too much here, I think you've got, you know, a different approach to the same space in broad strokes. I personally prefer the carry system and the air mesh of the CPL 24 over the Aer, but it's very much depends if this fits your body style or not. A very small minority of people don't like how this fits on them, but I definitely do. I think the air mesh is superior. I think I talk about like the highest level generally consumer grade execution, fit, finish, or whatever. Like I definitely think Aer's got that. Like Evergoods, I think is probably the kings. Well, yeah, I say kings or queens. I guess they're both dudes. Like the kings of like fit and finish and execution. So like if I had like this is great, this is a little bit better. This has in some ways less pockets, but you can see like there's still many broad similarities. The big pocket here on the lid and the top lid here, your stretch pocket in the back, and then you've got like your dump pocket, or sorry, your big main capacity here, and then you've got not a top dump, but you got like this big side opening pocket with like additional organization on the inside there. You've got a pen pocket inside of here and a phone pocket. You've got the brilliant yoke pocket, quick access pocket thing that kind of Evergoods is sort of trademark, and you've got a really nice big laptop area. It doesn't have two spaces in there, but like two different tablet and laptop, but you got this nice laptop area. And then you've got nice carry handles on the top and one side, but you don't have water bottles. This bag was first designed in the era before we lived in the timeline where you were able to do this on both sides of a bag here. So I think that's one of the big gripes people have with this bag. But the materials and just the carry and just the refinement and the patterning, whatever, is sublime. I really recommend this bag as well. These are two of the OGs in my EDC clamshell rotation. Like, I love them both to death. There's another bag that I have reviewed on this channel. This is the Bellroy Transit Work Pack Pro. This is the 28 version, 28 liter. I reviewed the 22 liter. This one has a lot of pockets and stuff going on. It has some similarities. Top dump pocket up there, big compartment in there. Only one pocket on the inside here. Similarly, this Pro Series kind of made a transformation to kind of try and speak to the travel kind of like use case a bit more, I think, which I thought was interesting. You also have side-mounted water bottle pocket on one side, kind of hidden inside of here. And then you've got this other pocket on this side that is sort of like a key leash pocket, key leash superior on here to this one. I had some problems with the 22 liter version side key leash pocket that you can watch that video if you want, but on the 28 liter one, it seems to be fine for me. The back laptop pocket has this little extra organizer compartment for your mouse and your batteries and stuff, and it's got a decent little, laptop capacity there. A very, very robust, you can see how thick this thing is, load carriage system. Also here, they've got the the luggage passer going this way. Just really thick padding and robust load carriage on this. Like I said, this is a 28 liter. There's also a 22 liter. These are both very interesting bags in the pro space. I like them both a lot, actually, and I think this one has like the magical ability. The transit line from Bellroy has always had this magical ability to just deal really well with overstuffing. So this one definitely, I think, is more viable as a Goldilocks one bag travel bag. Whereas this one, I think, works a little bit better as an EDC bag. And then there's a 22 liter version of this one, which I think is pretty good as other than the pocket situation going on there. And then finally, another, hot entrant that's also a little bit bigger than this one you can see physically, even though I think the rated litages are very similar. This is the Able Carry Max EDC. So like the EDC version of their very well received 30 liter, I think it was, Max bag. This was the X-Pack version. I think they also now have a nylon version. These are somewhat different bags, I think. This one is much larger, but I do think that it's a kind of an interesting choice for people who are kind of looking at bags that are a little bit more robust or can carry a lot of things, and which is sometimes what I think pro is a synonym for in some people's vocabulary, not some people, I mean, like in some usages, the word pro as a moniker, I think, is used to refer to like increased carrying capacity. So a lot of stuff going on with this bag. I'll have a full review of this one coming up at some point here. This one also has the kind of additional like organizer pocket up at the top here, inside of the laptop compartment there. It has a pretty robust load carriage system, more so than this one, I would say, but this one is plenty fine. Maybe this one's even a little overbuilt. And again, I think this one, even though it is ostensibly the EDC version of it, I think is probably a little bit better for travel than this one would be. And so really that is it. If you have any questions about this bag, go ahead and leave those in the comments below. And if I can, I will answer them. If you have anything you would like me to review, not just bags, but anything. Mountain makes a lot of poor financial decisions, and he's happy to talk about them so that you guys don't have to waste your money. Leave those in the comments below, and if I can, I will review them. Thank you very much.